So part 2, you've been asked to open a new blank project for ActionScript 3.0 and get any image from the internet that you like within reason, nothing offensive please, and paste it into the bottom left hand corner. Okay, so I think I've chosen a pretty large image, so I'll probably have to shrink it down. Now if it's not already selected, this free transform tool will allow you to squeeze it down and also move it to where you want to go. Okay, so that's the first 3 parts done very quickly. So back to the task in hand. So we've placed it in the bottom left hand corner. And we need to convert the image to a symbol, and that's what allows us to do tweens and motion on our images. So if we right click on the image and choose convert to symbol, so let's do that first. So I want to right click on the image, and down the bottom we have convert to symbol, which will bring up this menu here, so leave that for a second. Now it asks you to rename the symbol, which it did, which is great. I want to give it a sensible name, so mine's is going to be Millennium Falcon, and I click OK. And you can see if the library is open that this symbol appears in the list as well as bitmap 1, which if you remember from the last task there were several, and that's because I kept making mistakes and had to remake it all the time. Next, should ask you to rename your symbol, give it a sensible name, so we've done that. Next, right click on the image again and choose motion tween. So right click on the image and choose motion tween. Motion tween. And you can see that it already adds in a number of frames for us, so this is fine for what you want to do. We could stretch it out if we wanted to and make it longer eventually, but I'm just going to work with this number of frames. Now move your cursor to the timeline and drag the last frame out to frame 48. Okay, maybe I'm not. So I'm going to go to the last frame, click and drag it out to about frame 48. You can see that the symbols disappeared in here, and I think it's because I have a clear keyframe here, so I'm going to just remove that one. Can just go on here. Because I didn't drag it. So let me try that again. So instead of following what I did, make sure you use this cursor here. I actually dragged the frame away as opposed to stretching it. So have it out to about the 48th frame, and there we go, perfect. No mistakes this time. We'll just pretend that that didn't happen and move on to the next one. So like in part 1 of the task, drag the image where we wanted to finish and make sure we're working in that last frame. And place the image in the top right hand corner. Again, we should see the line showing us the animation, the direction that it's going to travel in. So make sure I'm in the last frame. I'm going to make sure I'm on the selection tool. It shouldn't really matter. I want to drag it to the last frame and have this blue dotted line, and you can see the curves appearing. If you press enter to run it, it's just going to travel across the screen. Next, now using the free transform tool, reduce the size of the image. You can hold shift down to scale it in proportion. That just means it won't skew the image, so I want it to be smaller in the final frame. So we can go back to free transform tool and shrink it. Now you can see that I'm not holding down shift to do it, which is why it's not saving the actual correct proportions of the image. And you can see now as it moves along, it starts to get smaller, which is the desired effect. Now, making sure we're still in frame 48, or whichever your last frame is, you want to click and select the image. So click on the image in the last frame. Done. From the properties window, we want to select color effect. So the properties window is not highlighted in mine because we were using the library. We want to look at the color effect. Great, so I've selected color effect. Next, from the options on the drop down, choose alpha. So alpha is in the drop down menu, and we can see it's at 100%. If we look at the first frame, it would also be 100%, so that's important. We want to reduce the alpha down to almost 0, so that it almost goes transparent, and you'll see that when you change it, making sure we're in the last frame. So the alpha setting, drag it down. You can see on my screen it's changed. I'll just leave it about 10 roughly. There we go. Now when we run it, you can start to see it shrink and fade out as it moves. Next, click enter to run your animation, and the image should move from the bottom left to the top corner of your screen and start to fade out. Perfect, it did that. And the last question, using your skills from the first part of the lesson, can you change your animation so it can curves as it moves? Well, hopefully that's really easy. And we choose the selection tool, and we move close to the line, and we can see it appearing here, and you can drag it so you get any type of movement you want. We can drag it off the screen and so on. So let's do this. I'm sure you guys will have more interesting and exciting ones than I do. You can see it curving as it starts to disappear. If you're not happy with how exciting and exhilarating that curve is, you can change it so it's more like so, and it will speed up because we've dragged it over a longer distance. Okay, so you should try and complete that for part 2 of the bike jump task.